Hello everyone, I just wanted to make this quick video showing you my Swahili resources because I know it's kind of like a part of the journey I didn't really talk on because obviously I started after I had found all the resources, and I think it's a really interesting part of the process, especially for Swahili because I had to kind of do a lot of groundwork prior to starting. So throughout this video I'm going to compare it with how it was like finding resources for Spanish, and just give you just general tips that I would things that I would recommend you do if you're trying to like study a language that doesn't have as many resources like Swahili. So let's get started. So basically what I did was, I think it was like a week or 2 weeks before actually starting with Swahili, what I did was I spent a lot of time. I can't put it like a number on it, but it must have been like more than 20 hours. So like one of the sources was just Google searches and going through like the 20th page on Google trying to find it. Other ones was like things I already knew, like YouTube, like Amazon, places like that. Go there and just write Swahili whatever, and then all the resources that were there, I'd categorize them in folders that I'll show you right now. Another one was forums. So if I found like language learning forums with people just who want to learn Swahili going together, so there's one in Duolingo, there's like just random language learning forums, there's Reddit. I went to every single one of those and they usually had lists of resources that they used, and like websites where you can actually find just general language learning resources and check if they have Swahili there. And then of course there was the resources that I already knew from Spanish that I wanted to have with Swahili. For example, language transfer, Asimil, easy languages series, like trying to see if any of these ones that I'm already familiar with, that I'm already comfortable with, that I like, had them or not. So when I went through all these different sources, what I would do is I'd categorize them into folders, as you can see over here in my bookmark area. So I haven't really spoken about like my methodology for learning languages that much in terms of like how I split it into phases and the chronology and the kind of logic behind each one, but just for now, just know that phase 1 and phase 2 and phase 3 are the parts where I need a course. So there's a course that's trying to help me kind of come to terms with the patterns of the language right at the start. So there's the first one. Obviously I just did language transfer. If you've been following, you'd already know. Pimsleur, I tried like 3 minutes for Spanish and I tried it 3 minutes for Swahili, but for both ones I was just like, nope, not for me. But maybe one day I'll go back and actually give it a good shot. Phase 2, just a second course after language transfer. So of course there was like colloquial, there was teach yourself, there was living language, had online courses, there was the Spanish Asimil for Swahili, sad times it's not in English. There was other online courses that I found like on Udemy, on other books and things like that. So even though as I was doing this, because I knew I had teach yourself and I knew I had language transfer, I knew I wouldn't be using these, I just still categorized them so I know that I had already done it. So if I like see the resource again through another source, like I found it on Amazon but then I see it again in a Google search, it already showed me that I've already marked it. So it was just kind of a way to organize the organization of the resources. So these are just other courses. Foreign Service have the Swahili course. I didn't use any of these, but they're here. Phase 3 is just Glossica. Grammar resources, I don't really use any like grammar focused resources, but here are the ones that were here. As you can see, there's a link, there's YouTube stuff, there's books, there's workbooks, I don't think I'm ever going to use this, but you can see here there's also like a link to Swahili master post in Duolingo. So as you can see, so this links to a Swahili post where literally it's explained. I don't see myself ever using that, but anyway, then the content, which is like stories, dialogues, TV shows, podcasts, and like content, I split it in the levels. So A1 and A2 content, a bunch of children's stories, Lingua Boost course, which is the one I actually opted for because I like the way that they said the sentence in English and in Swahili, because that helps with the pattern it helps the pattern acquisition at the start in the analytical phase, so that helps a lot. For B1, there was a couple of different things. As you guys know though, I know I used Kiswahili kwa Computer. I don't know where that is actually. This one has audio and text as well, but I didn't choose to use it because after Kiswahili kwa Computer, other B1 content, the conversations that I've been using, if you've been following the journey along, those kind of were just better. So I like separating it like this because what it does is every single stage that I find myself in, I can look at the content that's for that level and I can start comparing which ones I'm most interested in, which ones I think are best, which ones are easier to use, because some of these don't have text and audio. They're just either random children videos, like cartoons, and so I can't really use that, and I'm always going to opt for the one that has text and audio. So I like that in every single stage I can just go to that folder, compare the different resources within that folder, and then choose the one that suits me best. So the B2 resources is the longest one because I put pretty much anything that was native in here. Podcasts, TV shows. There's like sites that have loads of articles, like for example the UN, BBC, I think. And then I had dictionaries, which again I don't use that much, but actually it came in really handy because I spoke to the people at Language Tools, the site which I use, which I'll show right now, showing them the dictionaries that I found here, and then I told them, can you please add some, because the dictionary that's already there doesn't always have the definition, and it's really frustrating when you don't know a word. And actually they said that they're going to add them 2 more dictionaries, which is really cool because now we have 3 dictionaries and Google Translate for Swahili on that site. So this actually, there's some benefit came from, as you can see, this obsessive phase of trying to get all the resources possible. Output, these are just opportunities for output. I think italki, HelloTalk, Tandem, the classics are always going to be used, but I found a WhatsApp group. As you can see, I literally, everything I found, I just tried to categorize. Here's the C1 kind of resources, which are kind of like just basically books, and maybe like grammar guides. Oh, these are just guides. That part of my methodology isn't so streamlined, let's say, because obviously I've never really taken a foreign language to an advanced level before. So when I get there, hopefully that will be sorted. So now, obviously with the phases resources, the courses, you just do the course as it is. I have a methodology for that, but that's a different story for a different day. But then for all the content, how to go through them is through a website that allows you to basically go through the text and search the definitions for every word. You could sit there with whatever the text and audio and try to like write down words or maybe make flashcards out of them manually, but that just tends to take a lot of time. This is the site that I found that allows you to add your own passages and make your own courses, etc. So you basically just click create passage, you passage name, you choose the language, you copy and paste the text from wherever you found it from, you choose the reading level if you want, you can add a cover, audio, course, whatever. You can make it available in the library, of course, if it's free resource. For example, I did the Teach Yourself course on here, but I didn't make it available in the library because of course that's paid material and you can't be sharing that. So yeah, so if you just want to see the courses that I actually added, I added some in the beginner. So this is the Kiswahili kwa computer. I added a cover, I added links to the actual site so people can have access to the audio. The recordings that I did for the audio, I added them into the first lesson. So if you're learning Swahili, you can like passively listen to the entire year's audio at one big gulp. I also added this children's stories that I found on YouTube. There was only 2 out of 8 episodes that had subtitles, but as you can see, I didn't go through them. I kind of skipped through that. I have a tendency to get a lot of resources and then like when I come to them, not to use them all. And these are the conversations that I finished like I think a week ago or something like that. And this is amazing. In my next diary video I'll be speaking about it quite a lot. This is the next kind of resource that I found, which they've classed as advanced, which for me is kind of B2 level, that I'm using right now. So this one's fantastic, and as you can see they've put links to where I can find some more. So this is a fantastic resource for learning not just Swahili but any language. It's basically like Link. It's the same idea as Link, where you have the text, you can upload the audio and you can basically go through it with the definitions. So let me just give you an example for those who don't know. Basically here's the text, the audio has been added on, and you can add it to a playlist so you can passively listen later. But as you can see, whenever you don't know a word, it comes to you in this kind of peach color, and so you can check the definition, and then once you're learning it or once you've seen it, you can put it in green. So it's just one click and it makes it green, and so now every single time you see that word again, you know that you've seen it in another context, kind of like prompting you to think what could it mean, where have you seen it before. And then you click it again once you know it or you feel kind of comfortable to move it to known, and then it goes white. So all the white words here are words that I know, all the green ones are the words that I'm learning. And then because this is a lesson that I already did, there's not that many unknown words. Oh, and also if there are any words like that, like in a different language like English, or it's a name of a place or name of people, you can literally just put ignored, so it doesn't count as your word count. So you're only counting words in the language that you're learning basically. I also want to compare this process a little bit with how Spanish went for me. So obviously with Spanish I didn't do too much prior to starting Spanish in the way of finding resources, but what I did do was every single Sunday I'd give like 10 to 15 minutes purely just to set up the content for the next week, because I'm a university student, so obviously not that much time. what I had to do was basically make sure that half an hour or 45 minutes or an hour, most time was spent there trying to find resources. So every single Sunday, I'd spend the time to copy and paste text. For example, when I was doing the Duolingo podcast, let me show you actually. So here it is. So as I was doing this Duolingo podcast, this brings back memories, by the way, but as I was doing this Duolingo podcast, every single Sunday what I'd do is I'd copy and paste the transcript, I'd download the audio and then upload the audio here. So every single morning when I came to study Spanish, I didn't have to do anything. I just had to open the lesson. I can just get started. The audio was there. Everything was just exactly like ready for me, and so that helped a lot. So every single week I did that with Spanish, and it wasn't that hard to find resources. So that Sunday time that I gave to it was like trying to find, depending on the level, trying to find beginner content, trying to find intermediate content, and then when I was able to start with TV shows, it was like going on Netflix, going on YouTube, BBC Mundo, TED Talks in Spanish, trying to find shows and add them to my Netflix list, so then I can automatically just put them on, because importing content like that to link is pretty easy. You just literally just click 2 buttons. So it was more finding the resources as opposed to actually uploading them. But with this kind of resource where you actually have to copy and paste, obviously I had to kind of do that in advance. Something else that I'd like to say is that for this content that you actually have to copy and paste the text to it and like have to do a lot of technical work like this, it's a good idea to passively listen to the language while you're doing it, because it's a perfect passive listening time, because all you're doing is copying and pasting. So it doesn't make sense to just do that in silence. You can literally listen to the podcast that you're uploading so that you have some familiarity with it before you start studying it. Also, I just want to say like a quick note on Swahili. There's definitely enough content to get, I think, in my opinion, to get to a pretty high, strong B2 level. Even after 5 months and 1 week in, the percentage of unknown words is still quite decent. So there's still a lot to learn. So for anyone who wants to learn Swahili, don't be discouraged. There's definitely enough resources. Now that I've spent all that time and effort trying to find all these resources for Swahili, if you're also learning Swahili, obviously I don't want you guys to go through the same thing. So in the description box below, all these folders are going to be there. Obviously you don't need to kind of like follow this chronology or the system that I have. Hopefully it'll be useful for you guys to just literally have a bank of resources split in the different levels like that, and then you can just class phase 1 to phase 3 as just courses basically, if you want to use some of them. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it's been useful. I hope if you're learning Swahili, the resource will be useful too. And yeah, see you in the next one.